Welcome to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for the fourth race, the second round in the Trofeo Abarth 500 GB. You're looking at the race leader. It's Ben Winrow, who had a rather checkered start to the season, sliding off when he was leading at Alton Park. Here, though, he has not put a wheel wrong. He had to fight away past Stefan Hodgetts to take the race lead. But since he did that on the opening lap, Ben Winrow is really controlling the pace. And Stefan Hodgetts in second is slowing, I would say. There he is, coming out of left field. Yes, Stefan Hodgetts has got a problem. Down the pit lane he comes. And the man that won race one of the weekend for these cars has a problem. He was racing at Alton Park. It looked like a fairy tale debut in the championship for Stefan Hodgetts. Well, race one was all right, but race two is going to end in disappointment because slowly he makes his way now down the pit lane. And Stefan Hodgetts looks as though he's set for a retirement. Ben Winrow, in the meantime, then, is absolutely out on his own. He leads by the proverbial country mile. Here he can afford to back his pace off a little bit. He's already set the fastest lap of the race. Comes down now towards Stowe Corner. Not a car in sight ahead, not a car in sight behind him. Across the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, 3.1945 miles is a long lap, and it's a moderately small entry for the Trofeo Abarth 500 GB this weekend, particularly after a couple of cars were quite badly damaged yesterday in the first race. Out of the car, Stefan Hodgetts, and retirement, I'm afraid, for the man that won race one of the weekend. So Winrow leads now. Gareth Howell is up to second. In third place is Charlie Butler-Henderson, and then fourth and fifth, this great little battle between 45 there, the white car of Josh Wakefield, and the multicoloured paint palette behind him in the hands of Paul Smith. Down they come, end of the Vale, into the left-right sequence of corners that takes you from the end of the Vale through Club. They're not that far, in fact, now, from the back of Charlie Butler-Henderson's car. Ben Winrow turning his way up towards Priory on his own. But he had to work pretty hard to fight his way through into the lead of the race. But now Ben, the former Renault Clio champion, former Caterham champion as well many years ago, turns his way up towards Luffield, and he just has to make sure he brings the car home safely. He doesn't have to stress it too much. Comes out of Luffield, he's under no immediate pressure, and barring a disaster, he's going to score his first win of the season, isn't he? Out of Luffield, up now towards Woodcote. He goes over the line. In the pit lane is the rather sorry sight of his earlier rival, Stefan Hodgetts' car parked and going no further. So down towards Cops goes the man in charge, and these races are long races, relatively speaking. They're 30 minutes rather than a set number of laps, so drivers not only have to think about tyre wear, they also have to manage the fuel quite carefully, because they have a 32-litre tank and you use about a litre a minute in one of these cars. When you allow for a warming up lap and a slowing down lap as well, then it's pretty tight. So Ben Winrow needs, and he can afford to do now, just to measure his pace a little bit. Turns his way from Beckett's towards Chapel Curve and then onto the Hanger Straight. Race leader Ben Winrow then makes the run down towards Stowe Corner. Behind him, Gareth Howell, who was the double race winner at Alton Park, pretty much running on his own in second place. And Charlie Butler-Henderson now looking good for the podium in third. And I think he also is just starting to slacken off his pace a little bit now, not stress things too much as Ben Winrow breaks as late as he dares going into Stowe. The car quivering just a little bit. Now this is the battle that's on for fourth place. Josh Wakefield ahead of Paul Smith down through the right-hander of Stowe now into the Vale. Charlie Butler-Henderson you can see ahead of them. As they come towards the end of the Vale, Paul Smith has tried on a couple of occasions to get past Josh Wakefield, but to no avail. But they are just creeping up onto the back of CBH. The Glyn Hopkin Limited entered car, turns its way through Club, but behind it there is Wakefield and Paul Smith with a tighter line, hoping that's going to be the quicker line through the much modified Club corner, and that of course will become the last corner on the lap when the start line and the pits moves to that area for 2011. So that will be the home of the start and finish area, if you like, for the Grand Prix circuit. In the meantime, Ben Winrow, who's raced on various configurations of Silverstone, the Grand Prix circuit, the National Circuit for example as well, turns his way up now through the Beckett's S's. Still a fantastic part of the circuit, this. Doesn't matter whether you're in a Grand Prix car or something with not quite so much power, like an Abarth 500 Assetto course. It's still a very challenging section of the circuit, one that requires great bravery, and that's where he got the lead early on in the race. He's now on the Hanger Straight, going down towards Stowe Corner once more. So Ben Winrow, who desperately needs points, of course, after his non-finish in the opening race at Alton when he was leading and he had that slide that put him up against the barrier and damaged the suspension of the car. This is going to be a great boost for him. But Gareth Howell, rather ominously for him, is still there, of course, racking up points. Gareth took third in the first race of the weekend. He's on target for second in this second race as well. Charlie Butler-Henderson still being pursued there by Josh Wakefield, the ex-Saxmax racer, and then right up behind the ex-Kart man is Paul Smith. Out of Stowe, down through the Vale they go. Paul Smith right on the limit there. You see the car just drifting out a little bit wider, rattling up onto the curb. He gets a good run down to the end of the Vale. Ahead of them, Charlie Butler-Henderson, who's just delighted to have a full season ride once again. He's not really had a full-time drive since the start of the 2000s when he raced in the British GT Championship in the GTO class. Out of club corner. Now can Charlie Butler-Henderson hang on to this third place? As I said earlier, it might just be now that he's driving within himself, looking after the tyres, but he's got to be conscious of what's going on behind him. CBH is experienced enough not to let them get too close, and even if they do, I think Josh Wakefield is still going to be under enough pressure from Paul Smith to make him defend rather than more than he would want to attack. Turning their way from Bridgebend up towards Priory, the Help for Heroes backed car there. You can see of Josh Wakefield using lots of curb on the inside of Priory, hooking the wheel onto the grasscrete on the inside, so too does Paul Smith. And Smith breaks a touch later for Brooklands. From the left-hander there, it's up to the right-hander, the long looping right-hander of Luffield, and then accelerate all the time up through Woodcote Corner, over the start and finish line. Stefan Hodgetts, the man incidentally that got the best lap of the race and therefore set the lap record in race 1, a 2 minutes 10 around Silverstone's Grand Prix circuit. The fastest man in this race has been Ben Winrow, but a 2:11.2. He's not lapped as quickly, he's not needed to lap as quickly as Stefan Hodgetts did in race number 1. Also, temperature's a little bit warmer today as well, so maybe that's affecting things as the cars make the run now from Cops Corner up towards the left-hand kink of Maggots, then into Beckett's, and Charlie Butler-Henderson, still with his third place, is conscious in his mirrors that Josh Wakefield is not that far behind. A lot of dust has been brought onto the circuit there on the first element of Beckett. You just saw that being kicked up again, a CBH, and then Josh Wakefield went through it. There is Paul Smith in the green and pink and Union flag liveried car right on the tail of Wakefield. Onto the hanger straight they come now. Down towards the right-hander of Stowe. Now, if you get a toe on this part of the circuit, Stowe Corner is where you can make a move. Is Smith close enough to challenge? He's almost near enough, isn't he? Number 2, Paul Smith. But once again, the all-white car of Wakefield hangs onto the plate. Gareth Howell comes towards us in second. Their third is Charlie Butler-Henderson. Wakefield is fourth and Smith fifth. Down through the Vale they come. But it's a monster advantage that Ben Winrow has built up. It's over 25 seconds now between the top two. Charlie Butler-Henderson swinging his way through to the bottom of the Vale into this double apex club corner. Through the first bite, then aims for the apex for the second. Unlike quite a few drivers in other categories of the weekend, the Abarth drivers respecting the track limits. Many others have been way out wide all over the curb and using all of that runoff on the outside of the track there. So through Abbey, Charlie Butler-Henderson it is in third place. Makes his way towards Bridgebend, conscious that Wakefield and Smith are not that far behind him. Charlie then turns his way through Bridgebend. Having been very rapid in GT cars a few years ago, we've seen him with a brief spell in the British Touring Car Championship, but finding a full season's budget has not been that easy. He's a very busy race instructor these days, is CBH, but as I say, this is his first full season of racing for 6 seasons or so. He's just delighted to be back behind the wheel of a racing car once again. There behind him is Josh Wakefield, who's not had that many racing miles in his brief career. Karting and then Sax Max, the junior touring car category run by the 750 Motor Club, but he's going great guns here. And racing returnee Paul Smith is chasing after him as they go across the line. Ben Winrow, though, looks as though a race win is going to go his way. It will be his first of the season. It'll be a third different winner out of 4 races. 2 for Howell, 1 for Hodgetts, 1 for Winrow, if things stay as they are. And Ben now displaying the sort of class that we expected, really, at Alton Park. It was no surprise to see him lead the first race. It was a big, big surprise when he went off, though. Comes with a very good pedigree in one-make racing and isn't somebody that normally flings the car off the road, but he had that little excursion at Island Bend at Alton, drifted off wide, bounced against the guardrail, and that did enough damage to the suspension to render him a retirement. But here he has not put a wheel wrong, and this is the sort of Ben Winrow that helped to win a Clio Championship, to win a Caterham Championship. He comes then now through Abbey, sets the car up, angles it back down towards Bridgebend, through this very fast, very committed right-hander. And with the clock ticking away towards the end of the 30-minute race, is the flag going to be out for him this time? Ben Winrow turns his way through Priory then, down now towards Brooklands. In second place, Gareth Howell, who I think will be happy to get the points for second place, but will no doubt be very frustrated not to have been more of a factor this weekend. So Ben Winrow turns his way up now towards Luffield. And the Stratos Control Systems backed car run by Pyro Motorsport looks as though a win is going to go its way. In towards Woodcote Corner he comes. Checkered flag is made ready, and so Ben Winrow is going to win the 4th race in the Trofeo Abarth 500 GB. There is the checkered flag. Winrow wins at Silverstone, flashes the lights as he comes across the line. Ben Winrow wins the 4th race of the year. Second is going to be Gareth Howell. There he is. And behind him, Charlie Butler-Henderson has got enough in hand to survive in 3rd place with 4th and 5th right there at the end. And Paul Smith in 5th has spent most of the race staring at the back of Josh Wakefield's car, and he continues to do so out of the last corner. So Ben Winrow it is that takes the race win. Gareth Howell finishing in 2nd place, and 3rd on the podium again as at Alton Park, Charlie Butler-Henderson. Josh Wakefield 4th after a really gutsy defence against Paul Smith, and Matt Shedd rounds out the top 6.
It's a funny situation. I'm not quite sure why they start you the wrong way around, but yeah, we had the inside track today, so you've got the inside line on the drag down to turn 1. So even if you get a slightly worse for wear start, you can kind of just be a bit forceful and bundle the chap on the outside out. So me and Steph were side by side for a little bit, but we sorted ourselves out through Maggots and Beckett's. And then once we was out in front, it was just a case of getting our heads down and building a gap.
Yeah, it's good. 2 podiums here, but we definitely need to find some time. As a commentator just said, I can't follow their bootlids for the whole season, so I need to definitely find some time, do some testing, and work with the car and work with me.
Those boys at the front have got some pace. We've got pace compared with the rest of the pack, but just they've got something, so we need to do some testing, like Gareth just said. So we're sort of working quite closely together and scratching our heads. Hence he's not smiling, whereas I am, because it's just fantastic to be, up here and doing well for the sponsors and the championship. It's good.
And as far as the championship is concerned, 2 podium finishes here mean that Gareth Howell has a 16-point lead over Charlie Butler-Henderson, but Ben Winrow is creeping into the picture now in 3rd. From Silverstone, as the champagne is sprayed, the next stop for the championship is going to be in Cadwell Park in mid-May.